1996, the two studios that invented the console role-playing game in Nintendo and Square made exactly one game together. Then Square walked out, took Final Fantasy to Sony, and the two didn't share a cartridge again for years. This is the game from the last good year of that marriage. Let's see if it holds up. The verdict before the nostalgia, the 16-bit original still works. Not as a museum piece, not as a game. There's a gorgeous 2023 remake, and we'll get there. But the strange, funny thing they made in '96 is still down here on the cartridge, and it holds. Picture how this even happened. Square's role-playing games print money in Japan and barely sell in America. Miyamoto wants to put RPG mechanics in a Mario game. So Nintendo hands its most valuable character to an outside studio and lets them cook. Square builds it, Miyamoto produces, and a young composer named Yoko Shimomura, years before Kingdom Hearts, writes the score. 2.1 million copies say it worked. Understand what's on the table. This is Nintendo's mascot in someone else's hands, made by the exact studio about to ship Final Fantasy VII. Everything Square learned being charming and weird here, they carried to the PlayStation a year later. Super Mario RPG is the rehearsal for the divorce. It does not look like a Super Nintendo game. Square borrowed the pre-rendered trick from Donkey Kong Country, model it in 3D, bake it down to sprites, and tilted the whole world isometric. In '96, this was witchcraft. Today it's a dollhouse you walk a tiny plumber through, and it's still gorgeous. The story is pure fairy tale. A giant sword called Exorir falls out of the sky, crashes into Bowser's castle, and shatters the Star Road, the thing that grants wishes. 7 star pieces scatter across the world. A weapons-obsessed warlord named Smithy moves into the wreckage, and for the first time ever, Mario can't do this alone. Because here's the part nobody expects from a Mario game: Mario gets a party. And it is genuinely great. Mallow is a crybaby who thinks he's a tadpole and turns out to be a lost prince of the clouds. Gino is a star spirit who possesses a child's wooden doll to come fight for the planet. A tiny puppet with a gun arm and the gravity of a war veteran, and instantly, the coolest thing Nintendo had ever published. Fans have spent 30 years begging for him back. Then, the real swerve. Bowser, your nemesis, the guy whose castle just got wrecked, joins the party, sulking the entire time about losing his keep. And Princess Toadstool, professional kidnap victim, picks herself up and becomes your healer. She throws punches, swings a frying pan, and drags the whole team back from the dead. The villain and the damsel fighting at your side in a Mario game. If you make me pick a favorite, it's Gino, a doll with the soul of a star and the trigger discipline of a much angrier game. Fans have begged Nintendo to bring him back for 30 years, and they're right. Now the part that actually changed games. The battles aren't menu and wait, every attack has a timed hit. Press the button the instant the hammer lands and it hits harder. Time your guard and you take less. It sounds tiny. It is the most important idea on the cartridge. Because making the player keep playing during the turn is the seed of every Mario RPG that came after. Paper Mario built its entire combat on it and called them action commands. Mario and Luigi pushed it to the limit, where every attack and every dodge is a button you have to nail. Two beloved series both descended from this one experiment. Square didn't just guest star Mario in an RPG, it invented how Mario would do RPGs forever. And it sings. Yoko Shimomura's score is the secret weapon, the forest theme, the Nimbus Land Waltz, the grind of Smithy's factory. This is the woman who would go on to write Kingdom Hearts, finding her voice on a Super Nintendo sound chip. The remake had her arrange it all again and put it on a toggle, and the 16-bit version still wins more often than it has any right to. And the game is generous in a way the genre forgot. A barrel ride down a river, a Yoshi racing side bet, a wedding to crash, a sunken ship password puzzle, and a himbo bandit named Booster, who wants to marry the princess and cannot read a room. Every region has a joke and a toy. And then there's the door. In a quiet place called Monstro Town, behind a seal you can only break with a shiny stone from a mine 3 regions back sits Culex, a Final Fantasy boss. Not a parody. A crystal-flanked Dark Knight with Final Fantasy sprites, Final Fantasy battle music, an Ophthalmomere and the Final Fantasy victory fanfare, hiding inside a Mario game. Square smuggled its own universe into Nintendo's, best secret on the system. Under all the jokes, it earns its feelings. Mallow finding his real family, Bowser swallowing his pride to save the world he wanted to rule, a wooden doll explaining gently what stars are for. It's a children's game that trusts children with a little sadness. The thing the best of this era did and almost nobody risks now. And Smithy is the right villain for it. Not a kidnapper, a manufacturer. He wants to replace a world that runs on wishes with one that runs on weapons. Beat him. The Star Road gets rebuilt, the wishes come back, and the 2 mascots who spent the whole game at each other's throats go home almost friends. The cold open said these 2 never really worked together again. This is the last time they got along. Now the honest part, because praise without teeth is an advert. By modern standards it's easy, the timed hits are forgiving, and the game rarely threatens you. It's short, 12 to 15 hour and linear. The world is a corridor of set pieces, not a place to get lost in. And the writing, charming as it is 16-bit simple. This is comfort food, not a meditation. And here's the modern insult. Nintendo won't sell you the original conveniently. It is not on the Switch Online library, the one obvious place. Almost certainly because the remake exists and they would rather you buy that. So playing the original in 2026 means a SNES classic, an old download, a cartridge, or emulation. The artifact is quietly locked in a drawer. So how do you actually play it now? The honest answer is the 2023 Switch remake. Full 3D, the same game beat for beat, the soundtrack re-recorded under Shimomura with a button to flip back to 16-bit, on-screen timing windows, a bestiary, and post-game rematches, including a brand new 3D Culex. It is faithful, and it is lovely. The original is tighter, stranger, and sounds like a Super Nintendo dreaming. The remake is that same dream with the edges sanded and the lights turned up. Neither is wrong. One is the artifact, one is the comfortable chair. Here's the honest split. The remake is the better way to play it, and the original is the better thing to have made. Does it hold up? Yes, as the warmest front door the genre has. If you've never touched a role-playing game and the whole thing looks like homework, this is the one that makes the homework feel like a Saturday morning cartoon. Super Mario RPG is a short, easy 16-bit fairy tale that outcharms games with 10 times its budget and quietly built the combat engine 2 Nintendo series still run on. It is the sound of 2 great studios at the top of their powers, enjoying each other, one last time before the split. Playing it now is like finding a photo of 2 friends who fell out years ago back when they were happy. The handwriting on the back is goofy, the colors have faded, and it's still warmer than anything either of them made apart. Play the remake, toggle the old music on, and go open the Culex store. So that's our take. Short, strange, generous, and the blueprint for every Mario RPG that followed. If you've only ever played the remake, the cartridge is worth a weekend. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.